My ducks, it's Simon here. Welcome back to the Hermit's Cave. Hope everybody's doing okay and having a good weekend. I'm filming this Sunday morning, which is the 28th of September. Probably to go up in 2 days' time, the last day of September. Because this is my monthly decks I'll be using for the upcoming month. I can't believe it's been a month already since I was last sat here doing this, but hey ho, that's how fast time's going at the moment. I have got quite a few decks to show you this month because a number of reasons. One is I put certain decks to one side that I think if they come in during the year and I think actually they'll be better around Samhain or as we go into autumn, or these are kind of winter decks, I'll kind of put them to one side and bring them out. So that's the first reason. The second reason is October kind of splits into two parts for me. It's very much about autumn. I know that officially starts in September, but when we get into October, it's I really notice a change in weather, in temperature in particular. The nights really start to draw in. It was only the other day I read that today's, I think it was only about 4 or 5 days ago, it said this is the last day the sun will set after 7 p.m. This year. And everything starts to change, all the colours. So the first few decks I'm going to be working with for at least the first 3 weeks of October. And then I've got my Samhain decks-ish that I put aside. Excuse me, let me just have a sip of my tea. So they've been put aside. But Samhain for me isn't just one day. So it's the build up to Samhain because, 31st of October is when the veil is at its thinnest. But then, you have a period into November as well. So there's like a 2-week period of the last week of October, first week of November, and I'm going to share some of those decks as well. And that's the time when I'm going to be in Glastonbury. Okay, but firstly, decks that I used in September and how I got on with them. So the first one is my AM deck, and if you recall, with this one, this was a real labour of love in trying to even acquire it. It went missing. I was driving all around the county trying to locate this deck. And this is the Spanish version of the Vaqueta. Vaqueta I love. And Audrey, if you watch this, thank you, because you put me onto this deck. Absolutely beautiful version once I'd got it, and I was like, yeah, I love the artwork. It's very clean, very colourful. I mean, the Vaqueta, the Autumnal version of the Vaqueta is incredibly colourful. If you remember, I didn't get on with Tower of the Master because of those borders. So I wanted a deck that I could use, without worrying too much about it getting dinged up or, scuffed through constant use. And this did tick that box. However, I just feel that I still really love my autumnal version of the Vaqueta. The papery cardstock is just wonderful, and the glossy really isn't well, it is a substitute, but I just found as I was using it, I was like, yeah, the images are beautiful, but particularly the pip cards are stunning in the Vaqueta. But I found myself really missing using the autumnal, and I've got a backup version of it, so I don't need to worry too much. You might recall, after I did the walkthrough, I edged it, and I found a perfect colour match with the border. The border is on the front and back. which was a Winsor & Newton Pro marker, and I love it. It's finished the deck off really nicely. So as you know, I use pip decks for AM. I just find them a little bit more sharper, great for clarity at that time of the morning, whereas a scenic deck helps me with my evening reads, which is a reflection on the day, and having a scene to do that. So I think I found the perfect balance. It's only took me like 38 years. Anyway, that was my AM deck. My PM deck was this beauty, which was the Steel Wizard Tarot by Pamela Steele, a humongous chunky beast of a deck, but with these great colours. And I wanted something that was colourful, as you know, because if you remember, if I was doing decks for September when I chose this, we're coming to the end of August, so we're coming to the end of summer, and I wanted something as a last kind of shout out to summer. And actually last year September was glorious all through the month. It felt like we had a really long summer, but this one was great to work with. Again, I really chose glossy decks, didn't I, for the month of September. I mean, look at that for our Ace of Pentacles, isn't it just gorgeous? But yeah, and there's lots of sunsets, which we get a lot in September. My apartment faces west, so I see sunsets all the time, but never a sunrise. Not from home anyway. But yeah, this deck was wonderful, and it's an RWS deck. It does have some bonus cards. I did end up keeping them in, and look at the Death card transition. Isn't that stunning? Yeah, and I've just really enjoyed working with this deck and reconnecting with it. I'd had it about 18 months, nearly 2 years, and not really worked with it. And when I did the kind of declutter video of my decks, I sat with this and I thought, I don't want this yet to go into a container because I'm not giving it enough of a chance. So I thought, right, well, I'll work with it for a month, and it's staying out because I've really enjoyed it. It's not going into storage, and I am keeping it to work with again. The Oracle deck is this beauty. Oh, I've loved working with this. So this is the fabulous Linnea Weatherstone's Forest of Enchantment. The illustrator is Marilla Allwood, and if you've got the Forest of Enchantment tarot, you'll appreciate this as well. Again, I chose a glossy cardstock. September was really a month for gloss, which is fine. I mean, I said at the time, this reminds me of Paul McCartney's Frog Chorus, and every time I see that card, it reminds me of that. But yeah, another deck that was just perfect for September. It's very woodland. You can see we've got here the Oak King and Holly King. And even though that's, you know, mid-year or December when they have their battle, it still kind of reminds me of the changing of the seasons. So yeah, really, really beautiful. I love this card as well. The door. This is the door into summer. And look at that. Beautiful deck. So really enjoyed that. That brings us on to October then. So the decks I'm going to be working with in October. Certainly for the first 3 weeks of the month. Probably no surprise what my pip deck is going to be. This is the deck that came in during the month, and I have done a couple of readings with it, not in place of my morning and evening spreads, but just playing around with the cards. You know, when you get a new deck, you want to play with them, you want to work with them, you want to bond with them. And I've been anxiously waiting for October to come because I'm going to be working with a Bordoni. This is Marco Benedetti's masterpiece and I've got a few of his decks now, but so far, and I've still got 2 to unbox. So far, this deck is exquisite. He hand makes everything, the boxes. This deck has the Rivoltini, which is where the back is placed and it is folded over onto the front to protect the edges of the cards, and it gives this lovely bordered effect. What I love about this is the colours. They just remind me of autumn. You know, we've got some beautiful rusty oranges, some earthy greens, blue skies, but a little bit duller, less bright. Yeah, and just reds. Absolutely beautiful. And the clarity of these images are just gorgeous. So this will be my AM deck. And just if you're watching this, I'm always conscious that I repeat myself. But then when I don't repeat myself, people say, well, you know, what do you use AM decks for? What's the difference? And I've already mentioned, that the PM is around reflections on the day. And by reflections, you know, what could I, what learnings can I take from the day? What could I have done better? You know, how did I respond when this happens? And I guess that's part of my old Buddhist teachings as well. Not that you dwell on the past, because Buddhism teaches you only live in the present moment, but whatever happened in the past shapes us to who we are in the present, right? Because we are the sum of our lived experiences. And so therefore, it's really important that we take lessons from the past. And you're not dwelling on the past really if you're just doing that at the end of each day, thinking of the day that you're on. Oh, beautiful. But yeah, so that's the evening, to reflect on the day, take learnings from it, and take whatever learnings you've got from that into the next day. My AM is, you know, very much intention. So what's today going to be focused on? Now, you never know what's coming because the future isn't written, but you might have a good idea. If you've got things scheduled for the day, you might be worried about a particular meeting that you've got to present at, or there might be a piece of work that you've got to do, or you might need to go and help a family member. You might just need to, you know, go and do shopping and you're concerned about your budget, all these kind of things. Whatever it is, no matter how profound or everyday, then my intention is to look at the spread and get some pointers to take with me through the day that I can reflect back on as I'm going through the day. So if, for example, here you can see we've got the 7 of Swords. The 7 is about new growth, and also inner convictions with that. So that would give me an insight for if I am worried. And I'm saying this because tomorrow I'm attending a meeting and I'm presenting at the meeting, so it's forefront of my mind. That sort of having that inner conviction, knowing that what I'm about to talk about, I've done research into, it's my area, I have knowledge. Other people in that room don't have the same level of knowledge about what I'm about to talk about, and even if they do, I'm sharing it from my perspective. And from that comes new growth in terms of confidence and ability and you know, all that kind of stuff. So that's how I use my AM spread. But this deck, the Bordoni, Tarocco Milanese Fabbrica di Bordoni, 1885. And this is the Rivoltini version by Marco Benedetti, is absolutely stunning. So that's my AM deck. I'll just put them to one side for a second, save trying to get things into boxes and that kind of stuff. So my PM deck is Earth Magic Tarot, Hermetic Prophecies. This is the new colorized version. It's by Daniel Martin Diaz. This also came in during the month. I splurged. I've splurged twice this month. I am going to rein it in, particularly as I've got Glastonbury to prepare for, and that's usually quite an expensive week. In fact, it's expensive few days, and I'm going for a week, so I've really got to steady myself. I think this is just the art card. Yes, it is. What I would say, taking it from the bottom, because I don't want to break the seal, does mean it's harder to get in and out, because it won't have the cutaway bit, because it's the bottom and not intended to be used as the way in and out. I've got the sepia tone version of this. I've had that for about 18 months. Absolutely love it. And as I said, I splurged. I bought this, and I bought a couple of oracle decks as well. But this is going to be perfect for October. It is dark, it is shadowy, it has the most amazing cardstock. It's that beautiful, soft, silky linen that you might, these are the backs, that you might be familiar if you have decks like Pagan Otherworlds. Yeah, and it's just an incredible deck. He is such a talented artist. He really is. Oh, look at the King of Cups. And again, when I put this, when I laid these cards down on the table, I did a walkthrough, and as soon as I ended the walkthrough, I did a little reading with this deck. I guess some would call it an interview spread, but for me, well, I guess it is an interview spread, but it's more about how can we work together, how can we bond, what can you teach me? It just sang to my soul. It really did. Gorgeous. And I left that reading thinking, I can't wait to work with this deck. I'm really excited for October. I love October anyway. This is the card I shuffle into the pack as a significator. So I would look at what comes before and what comes after in a reading. But I'm jumping, I saw that card and I didn't want to let that pass without mentioning it. And now I've lost my trail of thought, and that's what happens when you've got an ADD brain like me, because I was in the middle of something, saw that card, and now I've forgotten what I was saying. But anyway, if it comes back to me, I will, in fact, I have to stop the video because it's going to bug me and I can't concentrate. Okay, it was just me saying, I'm really excited for October. I love October anyway. But I do love October. I think it's probably one of my favourite months. Now, I have a birthday in October, but that's not the reason, although we always like birthdays, right? I guess some people don't, but it's that real change in the air temperature and the crispness and the crunchiness underfoot, the fallen leaves. It's the beautiful bronze and golden, what's the word? I was gonna say golden brown, but yeah, golden brown, coppery, orangey, just, I love it. And it's also the month I go to Glastonbury, which I've done for the last few years now. I used to go in August, but I'm really enjoying going for Samhain. So it's just a fantastic month. I love it. And so I want to make sure that I've got decks with me as well that also reflect that feeling of that time of year. So, oh, it's just incredible. So that is my evening for the first few weeks. And then my tarot would probably be no surprise either, because that's also a Daniel Martin Diaz deck. This is Myth Oracle. Now, I've just showed you Earth Magic, and I said that I'd got, I have taken out, just so you're aware, because it comes in 2 boxes. You've got this outer box and then an inner box, but the inner box is really hard to get in and out. So I just keep the cards. That's the art card. That is the little book, which is in rose petal. Yeah, so my original mythorical Earth Magic tarot is in this style. When I said about the sepia tones, they've now coloured it. I think they'll probably do the same with this. But this deck, will be great again, won't it, for October? But I love just these beautiful images and just a word, knowing, obscura, so shadowy. So yeah, this will complement my tarot decks. Love it, look at that. I know I've done full walkthroughs of these, but doesn't hurt to show it again, does it? For some reason, decks of the months tend to get a lot of more views than other videos that I put up. So the chances are there'll be more people seeing these decks for the first time anyway. It's incredible. So yeah, my Oracle deck for October will be this incredible, I keep forgetting the title, Mythorical. Look. Change of seasons. Love him. It's very powerful, really powerful decks, both of them. So I think those 3 will really complement each other. But also, I've got a couple of other decks that I want to share. So around March time, and these have been under my desk since March, I saw some decks on Marilyn from Marilyn's Tarot Take share a couple of decks from this artist, and I was like, wow, they're really cool images. And I wanted to get them because I didn't know how long, with an indie seller, I think the numbers were limited. But in my mind, I was thinking, but we're right into spring, and going into summer, these will be great for later in the year. And so I purchased them with the intention of making sure I'd got a couple and then putting them to one side. And then I remember thinking to myself, you have that kind of internal dialogue, and I was thinking, well, the great thing is, when it gets to September, I won't need to buy any decks because I've already got my decks now for October. But yeah, those of you who collect tarot decks will understand when I say that all good intentions and all that, because September is actually a month where I probably spent the most on tarot than I've ever spent in terms of buying the Daniel Martin Dyer's decks and the Marco Benedetti decks. I won't even tell you how much I spent, but I'm set up because these are works of art that will last a lifetime. Anyway, I'm digressing. The decks that I got are these: Shadow Journey Tarot and Spirit and Shadows Oracle. And they looked incredible. You can see they're still sealed. I've not looked at them. It's almost going to be like a surprise again because, yeah, I haven't looked at them. They come with books. So we have, and these are rose petal as well, which is really lovely. Shadow Journey Tarot, a guidebook, and the creators are J. Edward Neal and Heather R. Is that Eagter? And it's the official guidebook for the deck. You can see we get this incredible, it's in black and white, incredible artwork. Lots of skeletons and shadowy figures, very gothic, and it just looks lovely. And then the Spirit and Shadows. Now they do have quite a few decks, a couple of tarot decks, a few oracle decks, and see, that says Heather Neal, but that doesn't say Heather. It looks like it says Eagter, but anyway, Heather Neal. Yeah, so they've got quite a few for you to choose from. So I watched a few walkthroughs. Marilyn's got quite a few, actually. Do check out her channel, Marilyn's Tarot Take. And I thought, yeah, actually, and I already knew I wanted the Shadow Journey Tarot. I wasn't sure of the Oracle deck, and I opted for Spirits and Shadows. So let's take a look at them. Look at the Oracle first. Actually, and where's my little seam ripper gone? I've got so much stuff out on my desk because things have been coming in. It's a friend's birthday the day after mine as well, so I've got that arrived that I've got to package up and send off, and got lots of stuff around me. And I seem to have misplaced it. Bear with. Ta-da! Just do my own sound effects. Saves with the editing process later. Okay. So, 2-part box. Spirit and Shadows Oracle. Shadow Art Finds. Take off the band. Now remember that obviously this is the first time I'm seeing this. Cardstock is lovely, really nice. You can see it's not glossy, but it is silky, really silky, beautiful matte. And this deck was conceived with love and care by J. Edward and Heather Neal. For guidebook options, please head to the shadowartsfinds.com. So that's where you can, that's the website. Yeah, lovely backs. And I'll just quickly kind of go through that. I mean, look at that, Awakening. Death. Colours are lovely, but they are, again, very shadowy, very autumnal. Foresight, look at that. Greed. Grief. So, these decks are for Samhain. Mischief. And we get a lot of these kind of woodland portals, and they've got elemental symbols and things like that in them, but kind of growing out of trees, as you can see here. And that's typical with a lot of their decks. Resolve. And if anybody asks, are these AI? No, they're not. I researched that at the time, 6 months ago. I would imagine there's some sort of computer manipulation or some sort of computer program, but that doesn't mean that it's an AI deck where someone's just sat tapping in keywords. So that's the Oracle. I know I'm kind of rushing through it a little bit, but I'm conscious that I'm showing more decks this month, and I don't want this video to be too long. I've got quite a lot to put up this week. This afternoon I think I've set it for about 3 p.m. is the vlog from Mam Tour from yesterday. I've also got a walkthrough of the Hedge Witch. So there's a lot, and I've still got the 2 videos to do of the other 2 decks that were sent that I purchased from Marco Benedetti. So this is the tarot. So you see it's a lot thicker. Oh, why are we starting with the 4 of candles? So we're starting with the 4s, 5s. I need to get these into 10, and then 10, and we've got ace. Oh, why do they do that? Do you know, I can't be bothered to stop and put them all in order, so I will just show the cards as they come. I know it's the way they come off the printers, but you know, it's not very often it happens, but it is. I'm like, come on, put them in order. You'll see that they've substituted to fit the theme. I'm not a fan of that particularly. You know, do we need candles? I mean, that gives me fire energy, so I'm assuming wands. We've got cloaks. I don't really know what cloaks is yet. We have got books that will help. Goblets is obvious, that's cups. But cloaks, is that the earth suit? No, bones is going to be earth suit, I'm assuming. So what's cloaks? Is that swords? I mean, I bought this more for the artwork because, I mean, look at that. I love these hooded figures. Kind of reminds me of Eyes Wide Shut. But it's perfect for Samhain, isn't it? Colours are beautiful. Oh, the backs. I didn't show you the backs, did I? Look at that. Is that a gorgeous blue? Our King of Cloaks. And these don't follow RWS, so that's why I decided on the guidebooks with them as well, because I was aware of the changing of the suits. Our queens, look at there. And then we're going into our majors now, but we're starting with strength, which is 8. So it is using the tradition of the RWS in terms of its number. And look at the High Priestess. Chariot. There's our Devil. The Empress and Emperor, look, go well together, don't they? Interesting, the image of the Fool appears in a lot of decks. Did you see her still with a basket of flowers, but with a red cloak on around all the other dark cloaked figures? Wow, look at that for the Hermit. The Lovers. Amazing magician card. Here's our luminaries. So cloaks is swords, as you see here, the 3 of Swords. See, wild cloaks be swords. Goblets I get, bones I can get. We come from the earth, don't we? Candles, fire, yeah, and they're long like a wand. But cloaks. Or here's an idea. Just use wands, swords, cups and pentacles, or fire, air, earth and water. Wheel of Fortune. This deck was created with a passion and fire. And again, it's advertised in the guidebook, which I'm pleased I went with the guidebooks. I don't know if it tells you about why they've changed. I mean, it says here, for reference, Shadow Journey Tarot Suits translates to traditional tarot suits as follows. Translates to traditional tarot suits as follows. Candles, wands, goblets, cups, cloaks, swords, bones, pentacles. But it doesn't say why, which is okay. It's more of a guidebook for each card than about their imagining of the cards or their interpretation of the cards. But anyway, that's that. And then I just wanted to mention a particular thing that I do at Samhain. So in addition of my AM PM decks, I always, around the time, it's going to be more difficult because usually I go to Glastonbury for like 3 nights, and Samhain is usually on like the first night or towards the end, but it's kind of in the middle. We go on the 26th. So 5 days into a 7-day holiday. I suppose I could do it when I get back. But one of the things I do is create a little ancestor space, an ancestor altar, if you like, and connect with those in spirit, or try and connect with those in spirit. And the way that communication happens is through divination, cartomancy. I used to always use Colette Baron Reid's postcards from spirit. I used to find them really, really helpful. And if you remember, when I did my, let's take the camera out a little bit, when I did my decluttering, I mentioned these 2 decks by Carrie Paris, the Relative Tarot and the Beloved Dead. And I will be using these for that, I wanted to say activity, but it doesn't sound right, for that sort of practice, that spiritual practice of connection with ancestors. Because when we looked through these cards together, I do remember saying, I've got both of these decks and I've never used them, but I bought them, or one came to me, I think, from Cheryl for review. The other I think I bought this one, and this one was sent for review. And I got them with the intention of using them for that specific practice. And also, just a reminder, Roses, Dust and Ashes, which came in quite recently, will also assist with that practice. So I just wanted to give them another mention. I know they've been mentioned a lot recently on the channel, but being as we're going into Samhain, then, and the veil becomes thin, then I wanted to mention that they're the decks that I'm going to be using for that particular purpose. Wow, so that's a wrap. That's the decks I used in September and how I got on with them. And these are the decks that I'm going to be working with in October. I'm going to be extremely busy, but it's all good fun. Let me know your choices. I'm always interested to hearing what people are going to be working with. I love watching those videos as well. I just wanted to say as well, one quick thing before I go. I don't always leave comments on people's video just because my time, I work long hours. I did 13 hours Friday. I'm doing some work today on Sunday. And I love it, don't get me wrong, I love it. But I also put a lot of content out, which takes up a lot of time, not just in terms of creating like I'm doing now, but editing, uploading, everything else, writing the description, choosing a thumbnail image, you know, all that sort of, coming up with the tags. I don't mean tags, you know, tags on each video. Takes time, but I do watch a lot of content, and a lot of it is either when I get into bed, I'll put it on and I'll watch and listen as I fall asleep, or because I'm on the road a lot, I have it playing in the car. And so I can't be typing messages a lot of the time. I do try wherever I can when I get a bit of downtime, or if I feel I'm watching something that I want to I want to comment on that, then I'll come back to it at a later point and then comment. But if you're out there and you're thinking, oh, I don't see Simon much anymore, please know that it's not that I'm not watching. I will get round to watching, and my watch later list is ever growing. But I don't always comment, but that doesn't mean I'm not watching your content. All right. Anyway, enough of a ramble. I'll see you all in the week, and until next time, go in peace. Namaste, and blessed be.